Good afternoon, everyone. This is the December 7th Infrastructure Committee meeting. We're going to call to order.
Where is Mr. Summer?
Where's Mr. Summerlin? I'm not
It's
sure.
okay. He told me I can talk
You
for
can handle
him, but I was hoping he'd be here.
All right. Can we go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Tindall?
Sure.
You want to do that?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess now we need a roll call.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Merritt,
Here.
Miss O'Brien,
Here.
Mr. Tyndall,
Here.
Chairman Morris.
Here.
May I ask if you prefer me to change that to Chairwoman? Are you okay?
I'm okay. It doesn't, it's a,
Thank you.
so we all have the minutes from the meeting May 30th and August 31st, 2023. Anybody have a chance to look them over? Good. Anybody see anything needs to be corrected?
Nope.
And I'd like to entertain a motion, get someone to entertain a motion here so we can,
Sure, I move to approve the minutes as is.
Second.
thank you.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Merritt,
Yes.
Miss O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Tyndall,
Yes.
Chairman Morris.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so now we'll ask if there's any items from the audience that aren't on the agenda.
Audience?
Audience that aren't on the agenda? Any items?
I won't know until we go through the spreadsheet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We
Yeah,
can
we
talk,
probably
yeah,
don't.
because then you can just speak to the agenda item itself.
Okay. All right, well, then let's go on to, the infrastructure budget. Thank you, Ms. Kim.
Okay, if we look at the budget, I've set it up so that in your folders, so that you're looking at the most recent 2023. Everything has been updated. You will notice at the top of the budget, January through December, those are your monthly revenues. So you receive sales tax revenue two different ways, or I should say surtax, infrastructure surtax revenue, because that's a little bit more precise. So you receive it two ways. You receive it monthly, and then you also receive it quarterly. You will notice we have not yet received December. Mr. Tyndall spent a good deal of time today learning all about the accounting piece. And so we know that we get this revenue in arrears. So your next sheet will present the entirety of 2023. And that's really it for the budget. So,
Sorry.
questions?
Yeah, I was just trying to see if, sorry.
That's okay.
Pat Bosick, 1344 Stratford. I was
Yes,
trying to
ma'am.
look at what you just provided the council. Great job, Ms. Rieger. This is
Oh,
perfect for them
oh,
and for
thank you.
the rest of us too.
For everyone. And once we have the meeting, I will put this up on the website. I just wanted the committee to be able to see it first and talk about it and agree that it presents as they'd like it to, and then I'll put it up on the website.
Okay, one thing, looking at, bear with me because I
No.
have one of this, and I double checked a spreadsheet that I think Ms. Morris had given me some time ago. She passed it out at a meeting, but it's identical, other than you've updated it with all the dollars.
Right.
And I could read it, because I had to have my magnifying glass this afternoon. Okay, when I look at street resurfacing, for example,
Yes,
when
ma'am?
we go down the list, we show, now I'm looking at it in chronological order, beginning with the oldest, but
Yes, ma'am?
I show all the same numbers that you do, 275, 560, 3357, all the way through.
Yes, ma'am?
When we get to the 2023 accounting,
Mm-hmm.
we list, bear with me. Where is it?
Goodness
Is that
gracious.
Okay. $352,206,000.75 for the street resurfacing, right? Okay. Is that a credit or is that additional expense?
So if we look at the 2023 page,
Mhm.
what you're going to see is the actual balance coming forward, the $3,141,333.52.
Okay, let's start with just this, okay, go ahead.
And then if you go over, you'll see in the red the revenues.
Yes.
1,698,000. That 1,698,000 was completed prior to 2017. So previously, in a meeting, we had talked about invoices. So I spoke with Mr. Summerlin about those invoices, and he said those are somewhere in the archive room.
Okay.
That was done long before the current administration came in. No idea where those are. So the best way to think about this is what's been done. There's been the manhole cover, the street resurfacing, and then I believe partially the Melinde property purchase. And that is it, and all of that was done before then.
Right.
So it's a little difficult to speak to other than what we're showing. So if you go online, there is a surtax, a Bay County surtax website. And
Very
I
familiar with it.
apologize. I was trying to get that in here as well, but I just ran out of time.
Oh, I'm very familiar
But
with
I will have that for you guys next time. And if you click on that, you can see the projects that we completed. It's actually a better exemplar of that. Now, if we want to talk about that street resurfacing, if we go to the back of the packet where the projects are, I did not put my packet together, so give me a minute. No, it's okay. I did it, so I know where to go. It's at the very back.
Very back.
If we go look at those, it talks about street resurfacing as number 1.
Right.
Now, I cannot speak to these numbers. This was done long ago.
Right.
I can only say the best thing that we can do is look at what we've placed on the county website
Okay.
and go from here.
Okay.
Truly, go from here.
Okay, but I think my question is a little simpler than that.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Did I go too deep? I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I'm familiar with all that.
Okay.
Okay, if we go back to street surfacing, the column for 2023,
Yes, ma'am.
there is an expense there.
It's not an expense for 2023.
Okay, so what is that then?
That's just a run over from the 2017. Everything that you're seeing in red, yes. And the problem with any of these spreadsheets prior to, what did we look at? Prior to, I'm trying to see where Suzanne took over. Q1. Basically 2022.
Okay,
Is we really can't trust what we're seeing because
well,
this was done prior to.
can I make an observation and a
You may.
comment based upon the spreadsheet as a whole?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you look at just that column, beginning back in 2017, if I understand what you're saying, in 2017, we spent 275.5, we spent 3,300.
3,357.50.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
You know, and when you add those numbers up, now you're coming with the 352,206, correct? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, then, again, I don't understand what that number is. It's under street surfacing, and if we look historically at the spreadsheet,
Ma'am.
regardless of whether or not we have invoices, it says that we spent in roughly, I can't see the month, sometime in 2018,
Yes,
We
ma'am.
spent
No, 2017 prior. Even if it's there, it was, all of this was done prior to,
Okay.
well, I suppose we could say 2018.
Well, because
I
that's
think-
what the document says, so that's all I
I
have to
understand
go
that,
with.
What-
but the
what- I got your
document,
question.
prior, I would say prior to 2022, this document is not accurate. But it is the document that we have.
Okay.
Suzanne.
Well, that's disappointing to know, but-
Suzanne
okay.
has
That was the other
taken it from
administration.
when
I
we,
understand all that. Let me ask my question.
Yes,
okay?
ma'am.
The way that the spreadsheet is set up, whoever set it up, just so you know
Yes,
how this
ma'am.
is functioning, those items that are listed in the column under street surfacing are charged as an expense.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's my
So-
understanding.
Okay, so the $275,560, notice it's in parentheses and it's in red.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a negative. It's deducted, it's in a formula, is what I'm saying.
I assume it is, yes.
It's deducted from the $1.2 million that was forecasted for that project to cost.
I would assume so.
Okay. The same thing for the $3357.50. That was deducted from the $1.2 million cost.
Yes, I would
Obviously, the
assume that.
street isn't finished, so we still have those expenses coming. The street surfacing is not done.
Yes, I mean, that's my understanding,
Right.
that if we look at what the Bay County website has, we only resurfaced one street.
So far, Lake.
Well,
Well, we did Lake, we did.
no, but that was
boat
not,
race.
I don't believe that was done with infrastructure dollars. I think that was something else.
Okay, then I stand corrected there, but still, my question. With that 352,000 listed in
Yes,
that
ma'am.
column,
Mm-hmm.
actually, it didn't take it out as an expense because it's not in brackets, so it added it back in.
That would be a question for Suzanne. So maybe I should ask Suzanne if she can come to the next infrastructure meeting that we have.
I definitely.
Well,
And
either
she
that
can-
or have her look at the spreadsheet, because what we're getting is we're getting in my perspective. I did the math. I sat with my magnifying glass and my phone, and I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm just saying we're finally getting some of the information, but by putting that figure there, it represents, from looking at a spreadsheet
Yes,
and what
ma'am.
it's supposed to capture, that there was a $352,000 expense during the 2023 calendar year. If there was, great. If there wasn't, okay, we need to find out what it is. But if it is an expense, it should be in parentheses so that it is subtracted from the formula, because otherwise, when you look down here and you see the bottom line, we show $73,289.25. That's saying that's all we've spent. We know we've spent more than that.
No, actually, if we look at the 2023 figures, we've spent in all $1,698,000.
No, just street resurfacing.
Again, I cannot parse that out for you.
But,
I
okay,
cannot, and that's why I say if the committee is okay, I will ask Ms. Kinnon if she can come to the next meeting.
That would be
and help
a
us
good idea.
understand the spreadsheet
Yeah,
a little
because-
bit better.
now I think you're publishing incorrect information, and that's unfortunate, because you've done a heck of a job with this.
I published what we have now.
It's
I would
just using the
suggest,
formula.
Pat, you go talk to Julie.
Can I do that? Can I meet with Julie or Suzanne?
We can,
we
well, I
should be
would
able
think
to.
that we should do that with the committee as a
Well,
whole.
maybe I'm wrong, so
I-
why waste
I-
the committee's
I
time,
think
but
you
yeah.
might get
No,
a-
because
you might
I'm
get a different
I'm strongly
flavor.
believe that these conversations should be had completely in public.
Yes.
We're
But I don't wanna
streaming
wait
this.
4 months. So when is Suzanne in the office? What day?
Again, I think it's a committee decision.
I think that, and this is just
Thank you.
coming from,
Ms.
I think
Morris?
that you have
Yes.
the right
Only
to
for you
speak
to
to any
decide.
government official at any time that you want to.
Yeah, I try to be
Especially,
polite, but
you are
yeah.
not held to the sunshine laws like we are, because you are a citizen, so
Well, they're
you
not a
can,
government official either, they're an employee, so yes.
Yeah, they're employee.
and so you
And
can't.
again, I don't mean to be
Yeah.
a pain, but you've taken the time to put this together. The formula is built in, and now we're changing it, and it's misrepresenting the dollars.
I'm not speaking to that. I didn't create the spreadsheet, so
I think we just need clarification on the spreadsheet, which would be
Absolutely.
to have Suzanne
Suzanne.
here, as well as I think going forward, we need to make sure if we're scheduling these meetings that, Tony is available to be at these meetings as well and speak
Well, I
on
spoke
these.
with Tony yesterday,
Yeah.
and I asked him if he would be here.
and this
he
is
was
not
planning
not on you,
coming.
but in general, I think that we need to have, these are if this meeting is important enough for us to be a part of, and for the public, the public to attend, and us being the public too, then we need to have our officials here and our employees that can explain what's going on as well.
Well, the next meeting is on January 30th,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not that far away.
Yeah, and that's not Christmas and everything, that comes quickly.
One thing I learned today, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms.
Yes.
Wiggett, is
Yeah.
when was it we changed, programs, or the computer?
Accounting.
It was,
It was, well, it was right before Mayor Kelly came in, right before. So I truly cannot remember
Yeah, well,
what,
that changed everything.
and it was mid-year
Well, it
without
changed the-
reconciliation.
System, but it didn't change an Excel spreadsheet. This is an Excel
That,
spreadsheet.
that's, when you go look in there and look, you'll find that a lot of that is garbage.
Yeah.
So,
It's,
so I,
there's nothing in this we can really, if I'm wrong, hang our hat on is, and I don't
The-
know why we're worried about,
The 2023,
anything
yeah.
past 2023.
Well,
Or
I'm worried about
2023.
it because frankly, this is $3 million that we can't account for. We can only account for the last
I think we
year.
can account for it.
Well, not if you're telling me I can't rely upon this
We'll
document.
talk to her.
Talk to who, Suzanne?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly.
Judy.
well, that's what
But
I
I
said.
get resistance. Oh, no, it's gotta be at the committee meeting. I'm happy to
No,
bring
no,
it
no,
up
I
at the
didn't say,
committee
I
meeting.
said I believe it needs to be up to the committee. I didn't say it had to be at the committee meeting. I'm deferring to the committee. I am simply the clerk.
So then I guess my next question would be, and this is rhetorical, you will not receive a records request from me, believe me, because I have better things to do. But if we were audited by the county or by the state for this money, how would we justify that we have or have not spent this?
We provide them with our audit, our financial documents that Carr Riggs and Ingram completes.
Okay, and normally they're gonna wanna see receipts, not just what somebody keystroked. So again, I understand storage, I understand it's been 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, whatever it is now, but it's frustrating that we're saying we can't believe anything prior to 2023. That's really disappointing.
Ms. Bosak, I'd like to interrupt you and say, the previous administration had a bucket, literally, basically a bucket. And they threw all the money in there.
Yep,
Nothing was accounted for.
okay,
Nothing,
right.
okay? So you're asking this committee or this city council, I mean, it was trash, it was junk, the way this city was run. Financially and from a leadership standpoint.
Okay.
After that, thanks to our city employees and the mayor, we started cleaning this stuff, or they started cleaning this stuff up.
Right.
So if you look at that old stuff, you're just wasting your time.
That's what I said.
If you wanna see a receipt from 2016.
I don't.
Well, my point is, why are you so fixed on receipts? Do you think the
I'm-
city's lying to you?
No, I'm just saying, because that was the response, we can't go back and check because they're in storage. Okay,
Right.
then to me, we have to rely upon what's here. Because
Well,
this
we
is the,
can, I think
this is
Suzanne
the
and
only
Julie can
mechanism we have,
quickly
but I'm-
tell you what's here.
but I'm telling it's not reliable.
so,
Plus, since you bring up the bucket, there was a question asked at Tuesday night's city council meeting that there was a resolution passed in 2006, I believe it was, where the city was gonna set up, and this goes in even to the prior administration, the city was gonna set up a CRA trust account for the CRA money. That has yet to be done. A citizen asked it Tuesday night, and she got no response whatsoever.
Yeah.
So again, everybody makes mistakes. We're all humans. Governments come, governments go. But once you find out what the rules are and what the procedures are, and if you're going to improve, then I think we need to improve, not just say, well, we're gonna start all over. And, you know, this means that basically, what, 7 years of the dollars that we've received can really not be accounted for.
That's true.
Yeah, and
And-
that's
That's not this administration's fault.
well, it's 3 years of this administration's fault now.
and I wanna go between both of y'all and say I completely agree with Chuck. That's why we got involved. If anyone wants to know why we got involved, it's because we were pissed off just like anyone else.
Well, there was a committee that was
And-
formed when the infrastructure tax was put together.
And so now I agree that how they did it is exactly what Chuck was talking about.
Right.
But on the same note, I agree with you. At some point, we have to find some accountability in saying, okay, great, this is how they did it. So we need to get as much information as possible and do what's possible to go through that bucket. You know, and I think that is part of our due diligence in doing that. Now, is that something that we can make a decision on? Unfortunately, no. You know, I think that is a
Council.
council decision of, you know, the man hours, the time, the staff, that have to go through that, and it's something that when you had, before who we had before and our elected officials and all that before, that didn't get done. So sometimes it can take a while to do that. But do I think we need to? I think that it's important because, like you said, I've been through a lot of audits, and they ask for receipts. They want to know what this pizza was spent on. Why this money for pizza was spent. Why this $5 here on a light bulb was spent.
Yeah.
They want to know all of those things. So I think it is within the best interest of the city to look at that. But I don't think that's something that we can decide. That is a council decision.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for
the-
that. And Ms. Morris, I apologize because I know it's 10 till and your 30-minute parking slot is quickly
We
going.
are going
So I
to
will be
tell
quiet
you.
the rest of the evening. Thank you. I apologize.
But I do agree that we need better clarification
Mhm.
on the spreadsheet.
I won't.
As I look today,
Nothing, the numbers haven't changed.
Mhm.
No, they haven't changed. Other
You
than
The
what we
addition of
keyed it
the
in.
revenue.
We've now made well,
Because that does, like you said, that looks like a $352,000 revenue. Like that's
Expense.
money. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that it would be advantageous to have to plan meetings if we need to around Tony's schedule, around Suzanne's schedule, and they need to be at these meetings to answer those
I think
questions.
that'd be
and
helpful.
frankly, and the people that are probably watching this, why did you have the meeting during the day? Again, I know that's sacrilege, but look at who's here.
Mhm.
And during the day, they're already working. They're
Mhm.
already here, so we're not inconveniencing them. People can live stream it. Are we live streaming this?
Yes,
time again?
ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Reagan.
Yes, ma'am.
So
We
people can
decided
watch
last
it.
time we wanted to
That's
do
what I
that.
thought, and I think that's great. So again, maybe there's a better time, and I don't know if someone works or if they're retired. I know you work.
Mhm.
I'm retired. I can, pretty much do what I want to. But that may be another thing to consider if we need Tony and or Suzanne.
I think another decision was that it limits. I know I'm saying this, with two people here, but it limits who can come during the day too,
True.
and making that
But
available.
are they making
for,
the effort now?
Yeah.
How many are here?
And I agree, but that makes it
It's
available.
always the same one.
That's why we've done it between 4 and 4:30, still on the clock, but it allows more people to hopefully attend one day.
And
I
hopefully
think one
some
thing
people
you might wanna keep in count, or take in effect. I was in Julie's office today and she had a couple receipts from Tony,
Mhm.
okay? They were just small things. And he has a category on there that he puts.
Mhm.
And she puts that in the computer based on his category
Right.
of where it's used. It's in the computer.
Right.
But holding paper, if you want paper receipts, that just sounds outright crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because this staff has worked their butt off just to get this far. And it may not be perfect, but I gotta give them 100% kudos. And if you wanna go look in those computers, I agree with them. Go in there and look, it's there. But anything past 2022 is really
Anything,
not.
I mean, I would
Right,
hesitate
reliable
until
maybe is the right
Suzanne
word.
confirmed that.
Earlier than
But I would, well, as Julie said today, we hadn't done audits. And we
Right.
received a letter from the state saying, if you don't fix this, this is what Mayor Kelly, I don't recall the date when he got it, but it was very soon after he took office.
The infamous
you
letter, which
don't-
I have. It's
if
not
you-
from the governor.
I didn't say that. I said,
He did many times.
I didn't say, I said from the state, and the state stipulated that if we do not get the auditing piece under control, that we as a city would be dissolved. So we had to put 3, if I recall, Julie said 3 audits, 3 years worth of audit in 1 year.
Right.
So, if Mr. McKinney were here, he would tell you there is likely some things that we lost, but we did what we did with the agreement from the state that it's what they needed. So I think sometimes you just have to start from where you're at. And I think Mayor Kelly started, and Mayor Kelly and the council, the employees started where they were at and just moved from there. So we have all of the information from that time forward. Beyond from their back, I don't know.
Thank you.
And but the concern is your concern is the spreadsheet, and we can bring
Yeah, we can
Suzanne
straighten that
in,
out.
and Suzanne, cause this is Suzanne's spreadsheet, and she can speak to it.
Thank you.
So, since Mr. Summerlin isn't able to
I
join
can,
us
I can
tonight-
share with you what he
Yes.
told me, and it's unfortunate. We thought we were moving forward. We thought we had the money in place, and this would be the state revolving fund money. Please don't hold me to that yet. I'm still digesting that. It seems as though at some point ARPA and the state revolving fund, they were separate at one point. COVID was separate from the state revolving fund, but now it seems like they've merged, and I'm still trying to understand that. He said that we have been told by the state that we have two choices. We can take, I believe he said 1.3 million now, which is much shorter than we had hoped for. Or we can simply rebid the entire thing. I believe he said February. But the likelihood, we're not feeling confident based on the conversation. And again, I'm stressing this is what I've been told. So, but we're not feeling confident with the conversation that we're having with the state that if we wait and rebid, that we'll get any money at all.
Maybe, am I the only one that doesn't understand that? I must be, okay, never mind.
No, I mean, you can ask, we can, the more we discuss, if it's not clear, then the better I can be to ask the questions.
I believe the gentleman has a question.
Yes,
So,
yes.
as I understand, it's a bird in the hand type of a scenario.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great colloquialism
Simple
for it. We're trying to decide,
Profound.
Yeah, and working with the state, I don't know why that is, but it could be that if we ask now, the money is there. In January, the money may not be. Because of physical budgets, I know even with working for the state for years, that's how they do things is, okay, so if you don't spend it within this budget year, you lose it. So that was already what's going through my head. Oh, it won't be there. The money won't be there because they'll have repurposed it for something else already.
Sorry.
But that may not be it either. I just know how the state works.
Yeah, sorry, just so you know that what I was looking for, I
Yes,
thought I
ma'am.
had a picture of that, the pooled cash statement that you, put together for us, a month or so ago.
are you talking about the whole 11 million?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it specifically set out there, SRA 2.1 million.
It did, and that is what I'm telling you.
Right, but you just said it's mixed in.
No. I'm just trying to decipher the difference between the two. Don't marry that with that.
Okay,
So that 2.1 million, that is the piece that apparently they're wanting to renegotiate.
probably because the bid came in at 6 million.
No,
we-
no. I don't believe the state. I can't say that, but I don't believe the state has anything to do with that. In that, I don't know. They could. I guess they're looking at that, but I don't think that's what it was. I don't know why they chose to say, "Here's your choice. We're willing to give you this or rebid."
Okay.
Yeah. And I believe Tony said the amount that they were willing to provide was 1.3 million.
Down from 2.1.
Right, from 2.1 to 1.3 if I'm understanding it. Or we could rebid for
Or we can
the-
take the 2.1 and say, see you later.
No.
No,
the
we don't have
1.3.
it.
Yeah, the 1.3.
Well, we don't have it yet, is my understanding. We don't have it yet.
Okay.
It's much like the ad valorem. The ad valorem was placed into the budget with the anticipation that we would receive it. The SRF was placed in the budget with the anticipation that we would receive it. I'm not sure when the state called. I mean, I can't tell you that. I remember I walked to the office because I was going to ask a question, and Tony was in there on the call with the state, looking very disheartened. And that's been a bit of time. And that is when he said, "Here's our choice," bird in the hand, as it were.
Will that be presented to the council?
I think they're still trying to get all of, I mean, I'm presenting it here, he was probably just gonna do this because this is an oversight board, sort of a, this is where we're at right now, but until we hammer out all the details, I think it's hard to present it to everybody. We're just doing this as an oversight, which is why I keep stressing, this is what I believe. I'm not saying this is 100% accurate. Okay.
But he is working on this, and
We are, it's phone calls, there's documents that they're asking for again, yes ma'am. We are working very hard to secure the financing that we need to get these projects done.
Another, if I may, another thing, I think the projects that were listed here, how far back did you tell me they went? 2016?
They're in your packet.
I
I don't know, I
2000.
didn't get a chance to check to see if all of them were represented there, but if you
Okay,
go
I
to
see.
the very
Yeah.
pack, you'll see it, and yes, sir, it was 2016.
So that's, what, 7 years?
Yeah.
I, you know, viewing the fact that we haven't completed all that, even close.
Right.
I think it would be helpful to sit down with Tony somehow. I don't have much time to sit down, but maybe reprioritize this, because if, you know, if we haven't done it in 7 years, maybe we have, maybe we haven't on others.
I don't know.
I think we need to take a look and say, well, that's 7 years ago. This is 2023. Going forward, and our portion of this pot is not very big. We
No,
just
not
get the
for what Bay County's
discretionary,
getting, it's,
we just get the discretionary part of the surtax.
yeah.
So it's not like we're dealing with hundreds of millions or 5 million or anything like that. So that, the money we have, that our little portion here, you know, could be used somewhere else. It could, you know, cause the other part of the sales tax revenue, as I understand it, which, Julie called it DISC, which
That's your quarterly, as I
yeah,
understand
yeah,
it. Yes,
but
sir.
that's not our pot of money. This is our pot of money right here. So it's not a lot.
Right, I had asked that question some months ago when I came to a meeting, understanding, I think it was Ms. Morris that explained that this was the list of projects that was given to her. That's what our dream list was way back then.
Way back then.
And I asked the question, does this committee have the authority to make changes to that? You know, I know we can't change the money, but can we change the projects based upon, we have a crisis that needs infrastructure now, and maybe we don't need, I don't know. You know, I know we need all this stuff, but I think Tony was here at that point, and he said, yeah, we could, you know, reallocate exactly what
Yeah,
you're
and
saying, reprioritize.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I think some of this money can also be used for other things in an emergency.
I think infrastructure is pretty much limited. The statute.
Well, I'm not talking about, within the,
Infrastructure,
yes, ma'am.
yes,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel, but, you know, 7 years ago, my needs were a lot different
Exactly,
than they are right now.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, I just throw that out to the committee, and, it would have to be a sit down with Tony, because, you know, some of these streets, I don't even know where they are.
I mean, this may be a workshop that we need to do
Yeah,
one day, you know.
That
but,
wouldn't be a bad idea.
you know, it adds up to quite a bit of money, but,
And on that, while we're, I would love to see that these, I think that there's a lot of great information within these spreadsheets. I think that these spreadsheets could be a little bit more descriptive in that information. You know, even like street resurfacing and projects that haven't been touched yet or whatever, it's kind of lumped. And I think being more line item would be nice to see. I think that would clarify a lot of things, questions you have, questions we have. If these were, okay, what does this mean in this lump sum of, so was it for number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? If it was done line item, I think we would be able to see where that money's going a little bit better.
We had talked about that more for the allocation when because they use all different ways to pay for these things.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, one of those is a credit card, and Julie gets this giant receipt. And Tony and I had talked about that. Could we just number these, like these projects, street resurfacing, could that be 1? Water main replacement, could that be 2? And then you'd know this is what it went for. So we did think about that, but I think you're even asking for more descriptive than that, not just street resurfacing, but which one?
Which one?
Which one are we talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, we got
okay.
plenty
This
to
does
choose.
say.
It does,
We
but
got about 20 to choose from on this.
But I mean, it says,
Which-
yeah, go, what's that?
sorry. yeah. Yeah, sorry.
I don't know where Shade and Grimes are. Do you-
Yeah, I don't even know where some of these streets are, so, and all in good, I think it was all put together in good faith
Absolutely.
and honest, needs. It's like I say, it says within 10 years, so we still got 3 years to do this. But I don't even know where they are, so we need to meet with Tony
And Tony did
so-
say the big focus right now is the water main on Tyndall Parkway. That's the main focus for everything, is to get that water down Tyndall Parkway. And I guess that would be the second one, correct? Water main replacement,
Pitts to
Ivy
West.
Road to DuPont.
Ivy
Bridge.
Road to DuPont, yes.
Yeah,
There's a couple
So-
of them,
that's
the
the
one where we got the bid in for 6 million. We got the bid, we read the bids, we've got the bids, we accepted it, I wanna say it's Robertson, it was 6 million and change. So again, that's part of the problem with the delay, as you were pointing out. We made this wish list up and now the prices have gone sky high.
Absolutely.
So, but that's still, I agree, number one, so we've gotta come up with the money someplace else. Whether it's take these other projects aside or apply for a grant or, take them out of the public works fund or the, out of savings or whatever. I don't wanna touch savings, but,
Yeah, if we can come up with priorities of
Yes, sir.
what this committee feels like is,
so.
I'm sorry. I
That's
didn't
okay.
mean to-
No,
Oh, go ahead.
my question was on the list, is that something that's addressed annually and possibly reprioritized, or maybe let's let this one go by the wayside, or does it have to work in conjunction with, well, we've allocated funds for this, so it has to happen, or it has to stay there until whenever or something?
Okay. And your name, sir? And your name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Gary Hard, 725 West Street.
Okay.
I moved here like 2 weeks
Right.
ago, and I'm.
Well,
Excellent, excellent.
Yes.
So is,
Glad to see you here.
You want to be on the
Yes.
committee?
so, yeah, right, you want on the committee?
I
Yeah.
will.
Not yet. So to answer your question about, this is not the group of people that allocates any money. All we're doing is making sure that the money that is spent on the projects
They
that's
said
set
it's
forth.
fine, but
Yes,
instead of
and
pizza,
this
you can't
list,
eat a pizza.
yes, no pizza. And as we've discussed, the spreadsheet is out of date. It sets up the original plan, but over the years, of course, the plans have changed. So yes, it does need to be, we need to have a more updated list of projects.
Can this committee recommend?
We can ask that,
hey, let's
yes, we
kinda
can.
do this annually or something?
Well, I think Mr. Summerlin does that pretty frequently, not
okay.
annually. I think he's on the road every day, and priorities do change. We did have a discussion once upon a time about moving Lake Drive up to the top of the list with road resurfacing, but once again, that was something that we had to work through the school board, and it took longer than a year and a half. It seems, at least a year to get it handled. So yes, we do need to absolutely have better understanding of the numbers on the spreadsheet, because you're right. That doesn't look, Like
I
that's
have a sheet here that has road grades.
yes.
He
yes.
graded
Yeah,
the
we got the road
roads.
grades, yes.
And like Lake Drive goes from an F to a D to a B, different parts
Right.
of it.
Right, yes. And
So
they
he
talk-
does evaluate them periodically,
Okay.
and some of them get moved up.
And I can tell you, I've taken that sheet around before when I'm just driving a Parker.
And you believe it?
it is very much, he's done a great job on
Yeah.
it. Because you go, oh, well, he's right on that F. You know, but,
Yeah, I need to bring him down my street.
I promise you, he and the mayor drive the city every
Yes.
morning,
Yeah.
every morning.
So is there anything else we need to bring forth?
Just if I can clarify, so we might wanna think about a workshop
Mhm.
for this, but we definitely want to have a meeting where, Suzanne and.
Can go over the numbers with us
And
And we're-
Mr. Summerlin are here together.
to
Okay.
explain the progress, because like we said, now our focus is moved from here, street resurfacing, now to the water main.
Right,
So we
Right.
need an update.
yeah,
And I think having them, I think we need to, and I get schedules, so we need to be more cognizant of planning meetings around when, even if both of them can be here from now on.
Yeah.
At those meetings.
well, if we did a workshop, we might be able to do that during the day, but I'm sensitive to your schedule.
Yeah. I mean, in general, like when we hold our meetings,
Mhm.
that, you know, Tony and Suzanne need to be at those as well.
Rather than a 4:30 to 12:30.
Well, keep in mind Suzanne is here one day a week.
Yeah. What day? What
Yeah,
day?
usually Mondays, some days she has to switch it to Tuesday. And so she can be here, but it is a bit of a hardship for her. So that's why I'm saying do we wanna try and do it during the day? Do we wanna try and make it during a day that she's here?
Yes, we do.
Turn that into
Yeah.
Yes,
a
we do.
workshop
Yes, we do.
possibly?
Yeah.
Since
On
this is
that-
her spreadsheet,
Mm-hmm.
she's the one that can tell us where the numbers came from. So yes, we need to work around her schedule.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
So-
make sure they're in the right column.
And then the
Make sure we
January,
understand where the numbers came from,
Understand.
yes.
the January 30th day.
Right.
If we move that, cause that would be a Thursday.
Is it a Thursday or a Tuesday?
I'll be
Typically these
pre-partying
meetings
for
are
New
on
Year's Eve.
Thursdays,
Mhm.
aren't
I'm
they?
starting right now.
Did I get that wrong?
Yeah, infrastructure is
Usually-
normally
yeah, it's
fifth
Thursday.
Tuesday.
I'm sorry, Tuesdays.
Well, we did that
Tuesdays, that's right.
for a couple of years, but that
Right.
But
wasn't,
that doesn't mean.
that's how it was before the last couple of years.
No, that's right, it's usually, okay.
Anyway.
We changed, we changed this one because we wanted to be,
We
we
had some
hadn't made a couple of the
We missed
meetings.
a couple.
issues with
Okay.
October.
I apologize, I have
yeah.
many meetings in my head
So-
right now bouncing around.
Yeah, so,
That's why we switched this one to this
the
day.
30th, which was the day that Kathleen tossed out, that is a Tuesday, so that's a fifth Tuesday. I figured
Okay.
that's what she was saying, cause she said the next meeting would be.
So do you
It's
think?
on the,
I
it's
put
on
it,
the backside.
yeah,
of this.
Yeah.
we have those scheduled tentatively so that we could, and that was another thing.
Can we check with her?
Oh,
and see if she's
absolutely,
available
absolutely.
On that Tuesday?
On that Tuesday, January 30th,
If she,
and
maybe it would be enough of an advance notice that she plans on being here on Monday, she could be here on Tuesday instead.
And I'm fine with I can be flexible with time too, so it's not just, my biggest concern is I wanna make this, which I know we only have 2 people, sometimes we have 3, sometimes we have 1. I wanna make it whatever time is most conducive to people coming.
Yes,
Cause
absolutely.
there's nothing that gets me more than scheduling a meeting when everyone's at work and it doesn't
Yeah,
give
most
people
people are still working.
time to participate. I want for the community, even at this level, to be able to participate in those meetings. That's my
so is the recommendation then we do it later in the day so people could be here?
I don't
to her
know.
schedule for this.
Let's, on this meeting, we're gonna do it to her schedule.
Okay, so
Okay.
that would be during the day, okay.
If 4:30 is too late for her, then we'll make adjustments in our schedules to be here.
It would be, she has to pick her children up, so it would
Okay.
have to be an earlier day workshop, if that works.
Maybe at noon. That gives, if people wanna come during lunch, they can come.
Pizza.
Delivered.
Hey, you're the newbie in our county, so you'll provide the pizza for us, right?
You just moved into.
Okay, so that's an option.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
we
could-
could do
and
that.
that
I don't know why
would-
we couldn't do
If we
that.
could bring
Kansas
some
City.
clarification, and then we could keep,
Big James.
And I
Yeah.
agree, if we
Still
bring,
looking for a basement.
bring them all together.
It's
I
called
feel
a
like
garage.
this has been the struggle,
you
is
have
that
it,
we're
it would
all
be
so
flooded.
busy, but we need to
Yes.
all come together and have the
and
discussion.
then
The garage
after we
is
get
called a farm.
clarification on the spreadsheet,
That's
then we can talk to Mr. Summerlin
Yes.
A workshop.
at a different workshop.
Oh, I think he should be at that one as well.
If
Oh,
he
I
can make
do.
that one, then that would get 2 birds
Absolutely.
with one stone, you know, and I'm all
Absolutely.
about saving ammo.
No, I believe that they both need to be here.
Okay, good, for that meeting.
Mhm.
Okay,
I do.
okay. Does that suit everyone?
Sure.
Okay, well, let's see if we can't make it happen.
Okay,
Kim's gonna work
What-
on it.
what
I
else-
will.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Pat, you wanna see the spreadsheet the way you think it should be accurately,
Well, I don't, it's not how I want it to be, it's
well,
what.
how it should be.
We need to know where the
Set up.
numbers came from.
For
Okay, I just-
example, one other thing that I just noticed, and Kim, you can point this out, the same question with regard to stormwater on the Melindy property.
Yes,
For
ma'am?
2023, we show an expense of $47,990. Again, that's the way I'm reading it because it's an expense column, but I thought Melindy was all pretty much done. We bought it, we paid the attorney, we cleared it, we did all this other stuff, and now there's $50,000 charged in 2023. That's the way the spreadsheet reads if you're looking at it historically going all the way back.
A-
So, but
And
Suzanne will be able
again,
to explain
I
it.
don't wanna speak to it, let's have Suzanne do that for us on the 30th.
Yeah, I don't need to see invoices, Mr. Tyndall, I just like to,
Well,
You
thank
know,
you,
I-
cause I don't know
was
how
just-
long, how many,
I'm more of the invoice. Show me the invoice.
Well,
I'll bring you
At
to
this
help
point.
me in the archives
Okay.
room.
I just like to
I get it.
know that we can rely upon this going forward.
I feel
Yes,
very
ma'am.
confident, you know, just based on the time these ladies gave me today. I feel 10,000% more confident than I did 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could talk to them, and they're busy, they took out time for me, which I feel bad about. But when you look at the computer and how the computer works and how the receipts are put in there and all that stuff, that's the most confusing computer system I've ever seen in my life.
It's pretty
But-
complex.
They're working on it, and it's there.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of hard. I don't even know how we get all that information in one. I mean, that the thing is unbelievable. The different things, but where the money is there. Where the money's gone is there. The paper receipts aren't there, and probably never will be there because we don't have enough room to hold.
Well, I am hoping to spend a little time each week in the archive room starting at the beginning
Right.
of the year, but, you know, there's
Not everybody can get in that
Yeah.
room, right?
no one can get in that room because there's
HIPAA
police
stuff and-
records,
yeah.
there's all kinds of things in there that, yeah, I mean, I was joking when I said come with me, cause I can't, I wish I could.
That would have to be an employee.
Yeah. I don't
That
think
has
that's
to be me,
necessary.
because
Yeah.
that's public records issues and,
That's the problem with overseas.
yes. And I,
You
and
can't
I'm,
get 'em.
and I am, tend to be very resistant in any of that, because the only felony, that anyone can suffer is if you release information you're not supposed to. So I get very resistant, because that would be on me.
That's right.
Yes, so I'm always,
Run it by the guy.
I know,
that sits
Pat
down
has
there.
offered many times to come and help me, like, if only I could. I just simply cannot do it.
Is there a way to look at that even as I'm gonna be that guy. Is there a way to look at that as like a vested volunteer could come and help? Okay. Because I know with the state before, we had vested volunteers that we background screened, that we made sign an oath that it was kept confidential, so it wasn't a city liability, it was a liability on them. And we've done that when I worked for Department of Health, we would do
Yeah,
that with
well.
volunteers.
Oh,
See, that's interesting because HIPAA requirements are even more strict than
yeah.
she's talking about with payroll.
Yeah,
You know, and to me, you could go, presumably, you could go in the room and you could see payroll, police, 2017 receipts. That's the box you wanna look at. You know, you don't wanna look at the payroll and the police records.
Well,
You just wanna look at that.
Yeah,
Again,
and you are right about that,
section.
except Mr. Tyndall is also right, that stuff was in a pile.
Yeah, which I'm sure was a violation then, not in this administration. But I will say, even with knowing HIPAA because of where I work, it is not a HIPAA violation for me to see, if I have a reason to see a patient's details, it's not a HIPAA violation because I work for that organization. Even though I'm not a provider, it's not a HIPAA violation for me to see it if I have a pertinent reason to see it. However, what would be a HIPAA violation is if I share that or if I make that information available to someone that does not need to have it.
Right.
Or if I'm trying to access information that I have no business trying to access. So
And
It's like
again,
finding out my blood type.
yeah,
I
If
know.
I
some
just
of these
want to-
conversations need to go to council.
I just
They
have
have to
none.
decide.
I have no heart.
Red?
But so as a vested, volunteer or someone like that's something to look into. As long as you're willing to take an oath not to share that. I don't know this, but I know from what I've done that is something that we could look into, because then it wouldn't be a HIPAA violation.
Just think if I were busy helping, I wouldn't be sending records requests.
Yeah, if we kept you busy.
Are you
Almost
taking
sounds
those
like-
for fire?
Hey.
No, I don't send that many, I really don't,
Yeah, no.
but I've asked for a few things.
Yeah.
So,
No, you haven't asked for a lot. Unfortunately, you've asked for things that I just didn't understand, so it's taking me a long time to get some of those answered, and I feel very bad that that's the case, but I'm hoping. And you all saw all that I'm reading and trying to understand, and I do feel bad that I can't get those done quicker. Hopefully there will come a time where I understand all of this and I can just,
I would like that to be explored or at least considered of having some vested volunteers.
I
to
wrote it,
backgrounds.
I'm gonna ask.
Could that be, is that legal in a government entity?
Yes.
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 I don't know.
I used to run, I don't know in this exact situation, but I used to run a volunteer corps for DOH, and that's exactly what we did. And we dealt with patient information.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they were allowed to be around that, but they had to take an oath, just like we take an oath, that if we see that kind of, that we're not sharing it, that we're not improperly using it, which is why we take those ethics classes too.
This will be a question that I will pose with the Attorney General. I'll go right to the top. I have someone there that I communicate with pretty frequently.
Okay. So I guess
Got
you have a task to
Yes,
see if we can set the next meeting and,
Mhm.
okay. All right.
Yes. And I think we'll call it a workshop,
I think we will.
if that's all right. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
read the statutes on that with an oversight committee. How does that work? And if it has to be a workshop, like a full workshop with the council where the oversight committee sits in, much like planning did. Planning, they had workshops when they were redoing the LDRs, and then the planning committee, as I recall, sat out there. Council sat, and it was a workshop with everyone discussing it. Again, I'm all about everybody in the room at the same time, if at all possible, because then everybody hears it, everybody
Right.
talks about it, and we come to a cohesive decision among everyone in the room. But like you said, sometimes schedules are hard to work out.
So the council's gonna be here at the same time as,
I would
Our
love
workshop.
that. Well, I'm going to discuss it with our chief administrative officer and see how he feels about it. But again, I'm stressing, I don't know, I have to read the statutes related to doing a workshop with an oversight committee. And since I'm calling the Attorney General anyway, I'll ask that question as well.
Okay. So you'll keep us updated on that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anything else that we need to discuss tonight? Thank you all for coming.
Drew, were you at the city council meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
I saw you talking as I was leaving.
Thanks for all this work. This is.
Oh, you guys are so welcome.
well, she wants it back. She wants her book back
I would
now.
like them back because
Oh,
then
I
I
can't
can
have my
put
book?
better, I
Not
just
for
did my
keeps.
little yellow stickies
Maybe,
and not.
maybe in a little while.
She just getting started.
I just ran out of
I
time.
think that's excellent.
Okay.
When we first
So did she hand
came
that back
on,
to
we didn't
someone?
get everything, and then we got something like this. With the,
Miss Sosa, did she give her back one back? She
not
might.
yet.
Must have. I think
There's
she
a lot
must
of
have,
background
because
in
you
there
got
about the actual text itself.
yeah,
five.
That I've never read.
well, I've got a copy of it now, but we didn't get it right
I'm sure I
away.
could probably find it easier.
Yes.
She knows she has to give it back. I think you told her.
Well, I think she may have. I think it was in, I'm just not sure.
Well, you better count them.
So we bought this.
You should have
West thought it had been
5 or
already
6.
done.
I thought I only made 5.
Not so much.
She doesn't have it, does she? No,
Not
I
to
didn't think so.
my
I thought I had only made 5 because I assume we'll have another member and I made one for each member, for the new member coming in. Okay.
Doing some stuff.
Have we got any, when does that happen?